Hello, friends. It's Lila here, and I've had quite the week. And I just wanted to speak to vulnerability. Hello, is ever out there? Good to see you. Um, yeah, good evening. Good happy Friday. Happy Friday. I was here this morning, actually, about 12 hours ago. Hey, Joanne. I'm curious how to say your name, actually. It's Johanne. I have a Johanna friend, Johan. Joe. It'd be interesting to hear. Hey, Angela. Good evening. I would really be interested in hearing hugs, kisses, how you use vulnerability in your life. Like, how are you vulnerable? This topic is coming up for me a lot right now, and I'm going to share how here in a second. But I'm just. Oh, it's silent. Can you hear me? Oh, the H is silent. Joanne. Beautiful. Joanne. Hey, Nicole. Good evening. Nicole's in Australia. I'm going to come your way, girl. I know I'm always saying that. You know it's going to happen. When I say it, it happens. That's what we're going to talk about is vulnerability. Please, anybody out there, share with me, like, what part of your life, what areas, like, are you, I would just love to know some ideas. Like, I'm asking for help here, brothers and sisters. Like, how can we be more vulnerable? I'm going to share with you this week what's come through for me. And I would love for you to share, how you're working with it too, if you are at all, if you want to, let's chat. But hey, Laura, hey, Janet. Oh, I feel vulnerable opening up my emotions. Yeah, me too, girl. So I'm going to talk about it. So that's exactly actually what's been coming through is like, you got to get into the emotions a little bit more. I'm a speaker. I've been booked for speaking gigs, and I have a speaking coach who's working with me to try to get me to play on a deeper level, to open me up more, be more vulnerable, and say like, hey, I used to be a professor, so like, how many out there have like been like the leader, like you've taught people how to do stuff in your house or in your somewhere at some point, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, like I don't want them to know that I was like hurting and in pain because I don't want them to be hurting and in pain. That's kind of where my story is. And I'm just curious if any of you out there, have that story. Hey, girl, I know it's funny, right? Hey, Peggy. Yeah, like you kind of don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to share your dirty laundry, your stuff, because it like might be negative or might. But what happens is I'm learning more and more is like the more we share those things about us that hurt, the emotional things, or the things that we want, we really want something, we're excited about it, but the more that we share that emotion, the more other people actually want to connect with us, right? It's fascinating. It's like we let go of perfection. I'd be interested in hearing, like, totally been there, Angela said. Yeah, it's so fascinating. I'm really playing with it on a deeper level. People would see me as vulnerable, but I would say that I still have quite a block up, and it's not like purposefully, it just is. Sometimes I just have this thing, like I just feel like I'm, got it all figured out sometimes. Right? But we don't, none of us do, just, trying the human experience. So I'm just curious, like relationship is another. I have quite a few clients who are relationship coaches, and I'm calling in a romance relationship this year. And that's another area. It's like I really realized recently, like I don't want to invite somebody in my life because like little things like, oh, my room might be a little messy. Like somebody might come into my house and see my room, and it's like somehow my room being messy is going to make them like not like me somehow. Right? Crazy. Like it's just little things like this that we got to be willing to be vulnerable. And I'm being vulnerable right now, just saying this, right? Like, hey, I got this weird thing in my head going on. Do you have this weird thing in your head going on? It's a little vulnerable. Janet said, when trying new things, man, I'll tell you what, Janet's on here. I'm going to speak to her because she's really inspired me. Janet's 78. She is learning an entirely new way to sit, stand, and walk. She shows up fully. She asks questions. She practices. She watched the videos that we do together, 1, 2, 3 times over and over to get it. And it's like she recognizes what is going to make her feel better and happier, and she's doing it, even though it's not easy, even though it's hard, even though it's like, keeping your toes down. It's like, that's like, you've been keeping them up for 78 years, keeping them down. She's like, that's not easy. Most people are like, I'm not doing that. This woman is doing it, showing up for herself even bigger. And I'll share with you, her and other people were experiencing this deep level of presence. And when you are present, not presents like Christmas presents, but it's better than that, right? Presence. When you're vulnerable, when you're open, you're willing just to be right here, fully you, right? Here I go in the teacher mode. I'm actually not being vulnerable right now. I'm going back into teacher mode. I'm going to call myself out right now. This is the work of saying, hey, like I have not wanted to try new things too, right? Like just like Janet. I mean, that's what I should speak to, really. It's like, want to stay in expert mode, don't want to try, getting in relationships, starting a business, becoming a speaker. I said I was a speaker for 1.5 years before I actually booked my first speaking gig. I was ready before that, but I was scared to do new things, right? And everybody out there, I want to know, like, where would it like benefit you in life to be more vulnerable to actually get where you want to go? Like, do you want a new job, or do you want a relationship change or something, your weight? Like, you got to be vulnerable and speak up and get some help. Do something different, ask. Like, what about asking? That's like one of the hardest things for women. If you're a woman out there and it's hard to ask, let me know. It's a conversation I have in groups all the time. Women are like, oh, it's so hard to ask. It's like, even like, can I close the door for you? No, I got it. You're cutting off the flow, not letting somebody do something, cutting off the flow. Yeah, Joanne says, I feel it's about daring with your whole self. Woo, powerful. I love this because this came through for me this week too with one of my coaches, actually a couple. It was like, you got to be full in. The commitment's got to be there, right? So you can't be like, oh yeah, I want that house, but I'm probably not going to have it. I want that relationship, but it's okay if they do this. No. I want to lose weight, but I've always been fat. I know someone who says that. I've always been fat. I'm like, I've known you since you were a kid. No, you haven't. It's just an excuse. You got to be in your full self. You got to be full of commitment, right? And I've been there. I've stayed in jobs and like knew that I deserved more, knew that I was worth more, knew that I wasn't being valued. And instead of like deciding to go on to my business, I stayed for like, 1.5 years, 2 years doing stuff I didn't want to do, right? Been in a relationship 1.5 years, 2 years, longer than I wanted to, because I wasn't fully committed with my whole self to myself. We've all been there, right? And what Joanne's bringing out is like, and thank you so much for bringing that, is like, let's just show up this year for a whole self. Every single one of us do it, and then the people around us will do it too. Don't worry about them, just do you. Show up for you 100% always, every single day. And if you don't, do it the next day, right? To show up no matter what the conditions. Man, I love this. I did a video this week on a no matter what. We have to. If we want something different, if you want a job, stop sitting on your ass. If you want a new relationship, get out of your house. Right? I'm being silly, but it's true. It's just true. Too many complaints. Life is way too good. People are complaining way too much. Asking for what you need, because if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Woo! I'm going to take that one. Can I borrow that? If you don't ask, I'm going to write that down. The answer, well, it's not going to go. But if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Yep, I love that. Thank you, Joanne. It's so good because women especially, we have a hard time asking, so ask for more. Notice that place where you're ready to ask and you're like, no, it's okay. Pause, breathe. Notice and say, hey, can I have that? What's the worst going to happen? They say, no, you weren't going to have it anyways. The likelihood of you getting yes is really high, though. So try it. I'm working on this, and I'm only speaking this to you. I'm going to be vulnerable. Like, I am an independent woman kind type, right? You see it, right? I'm like doing my thing, living my life. But at some point, like, I have a global vision. Like, I have a lot of dreams to fulfill, and I can't do it alone. None of us can. Okay? So you have to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, like, I need help. Would you mind? I tell my clients, like, send me your Facebook Live video. I'll share it with my peeps. Same, we're here to help each other out. So what else does she say? Talk about what you need versus what your wants and embracing the hard conversations. I'm going to tell you what, girl, I hear you embracing the hard conversations, but I would say, what if we talked more about what we want and less about what we need? It just depends, because sometimes when we're in this place of needing, it's like desperation. Like, I need this like money. I need this like relationship to fulfill me. I need to lose the weight. I need to get my diet in order, right? I need to go travel. I need a new job. It just depends on the energy around it. I really would love to have a job where I have freedom to work from wherever. I would love to work with people who are visionaries, right? Really heart-centered entrepreneurs, right? So it's a little bit different than like, oh God, I gotta get out of this job. So pay attention to the energy, the feeling state around this vulnerability. It's gonna feel really like open. It's gonna feel like uncomfortable. Like I'm speaking, and what my speaking coach is telling me to talk about is how I didn't feel valued. How I was like in this career getting a PhD, right? If you don't ask, I'm reading my own thing. Yeah, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Yeah, so I was getting this PhD. Have you ever been in a situation where you push, and it no longer was aligned? I wasn't aligned with the system. I wasn't aligned with what I needed a shift. And it was like, right? I don't want to talk about that. Because I don't want to go back there and be vulnerable and feel that discomfort. And yet that's the place at which I made massive shifts in my life. I was like, I got to make a shift because this ain't not working anymore. And there were things that I did, and that's what I help people do, is like make massive shifts. Like if you want to up-level your life, you come to me and talk. We'll figure it out. We'll make, we're going to get you to where you want to go. And that's what happened in my own life. Unless I share that with people, unless I share with somebody that I have a dirty room sometimes, not really dirty, it's just like the laundry gets, piled up from traveling and all that, I'm judging myself, can you tell? So unless I'm willing to share that, I want you to know that, unless you're willing to share your dirty laundry, literally, that's like figurative and literally in my situation. You're not really going to be able to get what you want. You're not really fully in. The commitment's not there. And I will say that myself. It's like commitment saying I want relationship, but I don't want anybody to see my laundry in my room. It's always clean, but if it's messy, I don't want them to see it. That's not full in. Same thing with your business. If you're not willing to say like, no matter what, I'm showing up, and you see me, like I'm committed to my business. I'm committed to the world, because I'm helping raise the vibration on the whole planet. That's my intention, right? So I wake up with that, no problem every day. But in order to do that, I got to be more vulnerable. I got to be more open. I can't just be like, blinders on. I got to see people, and they want to feel the emotion. And that's, what I'm really curious is like, how are you guys doing it? Because I'm not that great at it. I'm like medium. But how are you being vulnerable? What are you doing in your relationships? Like, what is the language you're using to share your emotions? What is the language you're using? Like, if you're a speaker, you're an author, you're in a business, you're even a boss at work, your colleague, you're a mom, like, what is the language? This year I want to speak my truth with love more. And in order to do that, I need new language probably in some areas. So I'd be interested to hear like what brings you to a place of feeling open and vulnerable that helps you rise, helps you connect better. I'd be curious to know. Hey, how are you, Stu? I'm talking about vulnerability. I'm curious, like, how do you be more vulnerable? Like, how, I know you are working on this too, probably opening up, and you do lives and everything. And Angela said, authentic relating practices have helped me. I'm going to Google that, authentic relating practices. I like that. The one compliment I get the most is, I love how real you are. Because it's true, because I'm like, I've lived other ways. It doesn't work. Let's get real. So authentic relating, that sounds like right down the path of what I want. Thank you, Angela. Stu, how do you get vulnerable? Like, it's this weird thing, I think, for leaders. Like, sometimes you just feel like, it's just, you don't need to. And why would that doesn't feel useful. What's the purpose of that? And yet that's the space within we all want to connect and say, oh, snap, you're like so not perfect. You got like emotions and stuff. Yeah. Angela said the group in Boulder. Oh, snap, close to me. I love that. Girl, Jocelyn, I just talked to Jocelyn. She's an amazing mentor for women, really powerful women who want to move past, really this wall we're talking about right now, and let love in, and have the kind of love that's a soul level love, right, Jocelyn? I just spoke to her actually a little bit ago, and then a client of mine who's a relationship coach, and between both of them, I'm like, man, this is the piece, right? It's like, how do you be fully you, like you guys are saying? Let somebody in, let go of the perfection. It's really fascinating. I don't have the answers, friends. I'm like asking for help here. No. Yeah, a little vulnerable. Like this is a really fascinating conversation for me. So, hey, Paula. Admitting things that are, so Paula, we're asking, like, how do you get vulnerable? I know, like, we've had conversations, and we could both feel a little shy sometimes. I'm curious, like, Stu says, admitting things that are weaknesses. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do one right now. Admitting things that are weaknesses. Okay, so I've got this cell phone that's like, I have this interesting, like, I have abundance mindset in some ways and lack mindset in other ways. Like phones, I'm like, it's the most important part of my business. Like, I don't need my computer, but I can build $1 million business off this phone. Let's just be real. So I should have like a high quality phone, right? Well, I got this cheap phone, this cheap screen. People see me. It's like embarrassing. They're like, what's wrong with your phone? I'm like, wow, it's great. It's just a screen. I got all these excuses. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, I got a friend in Canada. Anyways, she had a phone. I got a brand spanking new phone. It's not even open. It's in the Sun-Made raisin box. But I'm so jazzed because I'm like, so Stu, I'm sharing something that I'm not I'm not that good at right now, which is admitting things and weaknesses. A weakness for me is like actually honoring myself in a way, like that, like I deserve a good phone, right? Like, why wouldn't I? Like, I have an online business. Like, it's probably a good thing to have a decent phone. But for whatever reason, it's like, I just don't even think about it. So that's a weakness for me that I'm working at. And all my friends are helping me. All my colleagues, like you guys right now that are on here, are helping me. So thank you. I'm going to open this right now while we're on here. And he says, I could work on my public speaking, perhaps join Toastmasters down the line. You know what, Stu? I think that would be that's a really great idea to get feedback in person. And what I would say is that, Stu, you're showing up on Facebook Live. I say speakers speak, and Facebook Live is a way to speak. I'm getting a new phone right in front of you guys. Isn't this cool? I'm so excited. Because here's the deal. I can't download all the apps that I want. I can't actually run my business the way I want to on here because I'm like, too cheap. I don't know why. I'm too cheap to do this. I'll invest over. I don't know. It's just craziness. But that's the old me. This is the new me, friends. And welcome to 2018. Jocelyn says, thanks for this shout out. Yeah, seriously, Jocelyn. She's a man. She runs this program called Attract Your Soulmate. And basically, it's like you need to get over the things that are keeping the blocks up from the love in your life. Like, you don't even know it. And she just told me like 3 things on the phone. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know I was doing it. She caught me in the moment. She's like real good at, like, not about let's go back in the past and all that, some of that, but let's figure out now what's going to work, right? Own the phone. She's vulnerable, soul to soul, human to human. That's a hard one. So I do say that I got to actually I would love to share with you guys, like, would you love to have more of like a spiritual relationship, like a spiritual connection in your business, spiritual friendship, this kind of soul level friendship? I think that's what Jocelyn's bringing forward here. It's like, I think we all want these like deep relationships, these soul level relationships, like not just this like, let's talk about a pretty purse and shoes and what's going on in the football game anymore. I think people like that stuff. It's fun. Yeah, I want to be pretty and all that. But like they want something deeper. Not everybody, but many people. So in order to get that, we want it, but we got to give it. And how do we get it? We got to open up our souls, like she's saying. I love it. Thank you for bringing that. I want that. I want the soul level. I want the soul level stuff. Why not? Yeah, that's the yummy stuff. So I'm going to work on my vulnerability this year. I'm speaking it into existence, taking action here. And Angela says, own the phone. I'm so excited. I'm going to show you guys here my brand new phone. And Stu says, I could always work on better organizational skills. Me too, except I did that. I worked on it for about a year. And now I would say I'm quite organized. I looked down my little folder thing recently. I'm quite organized. What could I work on? I I like have a lot of coffee mugs around the house all the time. I don't know why. My coffee mug gets set down in the living room, bedroom, kitchen. Like there'd be like 4 coffee mugs around the house. It's weird. So I could work on that. Jocelyn, 2018 is your year to receive. Oh, snap. That's the word. Receive. Yeah, I felt that. Like all of a sudden I was like, whoo. Yeah, receive. So I'm a giver. Have you guessed? If you got a phone, my face is in your hand every day. I'm always giving you insight and wisdom. So I love to help, and always been that way. So yeah, thanks, Jocelyn. And really, the best givers are the best receivers. It's like you got to be able to receive and return. And many people are along this road, along this path. Many of you, I know, are givers, right? You may be even wearing yourself out giving too much, and you need to pause and receive more. So honor the people around you by asking them to give you something this year. I love that. That's a big one for me too. It's continual. I've been giving to myself a lot. I would say this is the self-love journey of giving to myself a lot, and now I recognize it's time to let others give all of that. So I'm curious to hear this is vulnerable for me to speak. Vulnerability is very attractive to others. People don't like perfection in others. Can't identify it at all. Yeah, I've recently had someone say to me, like, do you ever have a bad day? I'm like, honestly, it's all perspective, so not really. But yeah, there's things that happen that I like stress about or whatever. But so anyway, so yeah, you're right. See, I can't even go there. Perfection, yeah. People don't like perfection. People over time, they can feel it. It's like you can't relate. They see you as different, so you got to be in there. So here's my new phone, friends. Look, it's fancy, right? I'm so excited. I'm gonna have all my apps. Okay. All right, friends. So thanks for being here with me, and thanks for being vulnerable. Thanks for considering 2018 as your year to have more, receive more, open more. I would say that the world right now is calling for this heart energy to open more, connect more. I love Facebook because we get to connect like this. It's really, I feel like it's a collaborative experience. You get to be there. I get to see who's here. We get to type, and I get to talk to you guys later. So, consider opening your heart a little bit more this year, considering being vulnerable. And I'm going to work on, and I'll share this for you as an offering, is like letting people see me more, like opening my heart, not just giving love, but like actually receiving love more. That's a powerful energy. So see what happens, friends. Try it. I'd love to hear. I love you guys. Blessings.